What's cracking, guys? You know, I have a lot of things that I do on this channel, one of them being Elden Ring. I did so much Elden Ring content. In fact, when I did my subathon back in the day, maybe doing that again, I played a lot of Elden Ring. I think I even beat the game on stream during the subathon, perhaps. Really good game. Probably one of my favorite games of all time. Super fantastic. What if I told you that From Software decided that no, we were gonna take this even more anime. We're gonna make Ronnie and Melina an actual anime waifu. That's right, those mad lads did it. They made Elden Ring into a manga. Now I know what you're thinking, wow, that sounds like something that's gonna be super serious, kind of like Berserk, or, you know, other kind of dark, grim fantasy settings out there. Just you wait. Now, the manga comes from an author known as Nikichi Tobita, which made the comedy fantasy series called A Cursed Sword's Daily Lives. That should give you a little bit of an indicator about, you know, how this is going to go down, but it's fine because I'll at least introduce you into the series here, give you a little deep dive into it. I mean, you could go to Comic Walker platform where you're able to read it for free online. I'll put a link below in the description. Go ahead, check it out for yourself. I'll give like a little quick breakdown of this series just because I kind of fell in love with this just right at the start. It fits so well with the whole theme of Elden Ring and let's just say the online community. Presenting the epic manga adaptation of the worldwide hit video game Elden Ring. And you know, that's how it like starts out here with the little thing at the top, really telling you that this is going to be the greatest epic manga adaptation of all time out here. And it starts just as like the video game kind of starts out here. The fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered in our home across the fog, the lands between. Now Queen Marika, the Eternal is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the black knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. Man, they're like recreating one for one, like the opening out here. Lots of good classic cinematic trailers out here. Still kind of vague of what's going on, you know, but still, you understand. At least if you played the game, maybe you understand. Soon, Marika's offsprings, demigods all, claim the shards of the Elden Ring. This is our first glimpse at anime, manga, Ronnie. Very good to see it, you know. Again, I'm sure that, you know, the manga is going to do wonders, especially with what the internet has done with Ronnie. I gotta tell you, man, I have never seen so much off-brand of a doll with 4 arms. I never thought a blue doll with arms would get so much off-brand. Like, wow. Anyway, he gets some really epic shots. I mean, look at this artwork of the big guy himself out here. And Millennia out. I mean, Rodan, Millennia, the fight, cool. You're gonna see it in manga form. But the best part, we're leaning into it here. And one other, whom grace would again bless, a tarnished of no renown, cross the fog to the lands between, to stand before the Elden Ring, and become the Elden Lord. This is a comedy manga. And then chapter 1, you thought this be serious, didn't you? Actually out there, drops the titles. Wait, this cannot be the tarnished way after the future Elden Lord. This I don't know what kind of position that is, but yo, cheaters, you're gonna have to blur out that butt. You know, just maybe put like your face, my face, whatever face, both over to the butt cheeks. I don't know what you want to do out there. It's funny. He's wearing clothes, okay? Just not fully. You can see that this man chose the hardest path, starting as level 1, 0 gear. Only probably got a club out there. It's staying true. It's a genius twist, honestly. I thought it was gonna be like, oh, super serious and other things like that. And I don't know if I'd actually want to read that. But with a comedy, you could do so much more and get the authentic Elden Ring experience. I also like the fact that Melina shows up in here and she actually has more lines that are, I guess more normal. She gets more character than in the video game because you really don't get a lot of her. She just kind of is there in the video game and you just kind of forget about her. You could actually, if you explore, you can visit her at sites of grace. You know, you'll see her there. For the most part, yeah, she's just kind of non-existent until you get to a certain part of the game. and I don't want to spoil everything. Seriously, look what he's wearing. At least hope for someone with enough sense to wear pants. What? You think even one so beyond the Golden Order could pursue the Elden Ring? And it just looks over. Torrent, cut it out. This is hardly time to be horsing around. Nudge, you're gonna help out. I like this. Even the horsing around joke. It's good. This is actually like really well done. This line out here really speaks to me though. Mustn't judge others by appearance. What exactly is it that draws you to him, by the way? I see. His nice firm haunches? Well, they're the mark of a good horse, certainly. And you'll be the one under them anyway. It was a joke, Tor. The panic in his, that was great. But then you get like the sweeping shots of the air tree. And it's like, bam, right there in manga form. It's cool. And you get to revisit all of the classic things that you see in the game, like getting out of the tomb, where the guy, you know, he gets out there and the doors are, you know, stupidly heavy. Like everyone has troubles opening the doors in the game, and this man makes fun of it. Why are the doors always so freaking heavy? Why not a normal door? Like, what part of this makes sense? You could just see him suffering just to open it and having to roll. The first roll of the series too. Like, there we go. The iconic roll. It's not an Elden Ring or Dark Souls game without some rolling. It's also hilarious that she wanted to help the guy, but he obviously doesn't have pockets or anything of the sort, considering, you know, he's just a guy that only has the loincloth and a club. That's all he's got. So what does she do to give him the healing pots? Well, she sticks them on his butt. Well, there you go. I was wondering where he kept them all, but no, there you go. It's just right on the butt cheeks. Boop, boop, right there. And then, of course, you meet Vare. Vare, that son of a gun that you always meet at the start of the game, who, you know, some people want to aggro on them because he calls them maidenless, and of course he doesn't hesitate this. He definitely calls you maidenless in this as well, which is great. And he really rubs it in. And of course, you know, main character reacts in any way that somebody would, except this time Vare, you know, is kind of normalish. He doesn't immediately murder and slaughter after getting attacked, at least. Well, then again, in the games, you have to attack multiple times before he starts attacking, and then he comes after your bacon. And then he seems kind of reasonable, given, like, the main quest, go to the castle, you know, follow the guidance of grace. If it leads you to your death, so be it. And then, you know, he just waves them all, you know, like, hey, you're not so bad after all. I thought it was funny, even though he is kind of a jerkwad. And he tells you to, like, go after other people if you know later in the game. But he seemed more reasonable. And then he even seemed to care about the Tarnish as he goes to fight what is the noob killer of all, the tree sentinel at the start of the game. And he's just like, oh dear, here he goes. And then immediately gets destroyed. Good old tree sentinel. You gotta love that guy. Then, you know, it ends on a more serious tone after, you know, getting slaughtered by the tree sentinel. He wakes up at a bonfire, and then Millennia gives the famous scene of greetings, traveler beyond the fog, and she shows up in her hood and, you know, says hello to the first time to our protagonist, and that's where the first chapter leaves off. And now, granted, there's only 2 chapters right now. I hope that I have you guys hooked and want to read the rest of this, because I want this to continue. I want this manga to succeed so badly because it's hilarious, and chapter 2 holds nothing back. And I like how he's kind of reasonable behind this. It's like, why does this girl want to offer me an accord? Like some kind of deal? Like, who comes up to a guy that's literally naked and wants to offer a deal? This girl's nuts. I would not approach a man in a loincloth and a club and has 2 bottles stuck to his butt. I would also think that it's just a tad bit weird. And this is probably one of my favorite moments where she tries to, like, talk to him in the normal tongue, you know, the usual dialogue that you hear in Elden Ring, you know, the dialogue that you don't quite understand because it's just all fancy talk, you know, the stuff that you see in fairy tales. And the main character's like, what on earth are you talking about? And then so she has to dub it out, which is great. And some of my favorite bits of this are the small details that usually are in the background, such as while they're resting at the bonfire in the first place, where you do meet Melina. like for the first time, just right in front, right there. The guy is even like explaining that he was trying to follow the grace, but then he had to run away from like the guards, and the guy with the horn is there. He's blowing the horn. You know, the guy that summons all the guards that everyone usually has to run away from. They're like, oh God, and then he has to fight the entire camp. And there's even the giant there that he runs away, that ambushes. It's great. I like the subtle references. Like if you've played the game, you really appreciate the small things that are there. And then my favorite thing is that in order for the protagonist to actually understand what she's saying, she has to break the fourth wall. It's like, put it simply, you collect the runes, I can help you level up. If you level up, you'll get stronger. You're like, wait, I understand everything. She's amazing. She just breaks the freaking fourth wall. I think, and the manga just says, yo, devs, is this okay if I break the fourth wall to do this? It's great. It's so funny. Because honestly, it makes sense. Actually turning a game into a manga, it's kind of a challenging ordeal, because what makes the game really fun and stand out is the fact that it was a game in the first place and not necessarily the story. So like with this, it's combining the game and the story together. Not that the story was that impressive, I guess. It was kind of strange and bizarre, and most of the time people just played it for the gameplay anyway, but you know what I'm trying to say. And so like the best thing to do in order to bring the game back to the story in the manga, in manga form, is just to break the fourth wall and just to say, like, yes, this is a game. I feel like that's probably like one of the best approaches they could have done to Elden Ring. Because if it's just a story and they try to use the same terms and keep it all serious, well, you'd probably need another YouTube guide telling you of how to follow the actual story and all the small little details and all the little knickknacks that you'd have to piece together in order to get the full picture. And even then, people still don't have the full picture of the storyline of Elden Ring. And trust me, I looked at all these YouTube videos after spending like 150 hours just trying to understand. To be fair though, the story wasn't too hard to try and follow in this iteration of like a Dark Souls game. They did like a little bit better of a job, but still, it's cryptic. And my favorite thing is she leveled up for him, and so since you seemed like a dimwit, I put your stats into intelligence. Just so you would understand like what's going on a little bit better, which is great. So he's not just a brute anymore. Imagine that someone could just like feed runes into you, or if you feed her runes, and she would make you more smart. Man, that would be great for like a math or history test. But then I like how they tied Melina back to the original story and her thing. She wanted to go to the base of the Erd Tree to do something, to do her purpose. And, you know, the character's like, oh, she lost some of her memory too. She wants to find out who she is. So he gets like motivated to help her out. And I like that. It's like, oh, hey, maybe I got some connection to this lady after all. No, well, you're just the silent protagonist in Elden Ring, and you don't really contribute much to the story besides, you know, just becoming Elden Lord. I put that in quotations because you have different endings, obviously. And I like how they have little small interactions here. It's like, so your name is Melina, right? Can I call you Mel? You may not. It's like, oh. And the guy doesn't even have his name. And so she just goes, Acio. It's like, what? That's kind of lame. Acio? What kind of name is that? Because apparently all Tarnish are known as Acibito? Like, I've never heard that before. Maybe that's a Japanese thing. I have no idea. I've never heard of that. And, you know, granted his new horsepower that he was given by Melina, he did what any true Dark Souls / Elden Ring player would do, and that's go head first at the boss that kicked his butt again. And he just goes and he just runs away. But at least, you know, he's trying to do his best in order to defeat this boss. But, you know, Vare comes back, distracts him, and, well, you know how things go. Team Rocket's blasting off again. Granted, there is not a lot of this manga to go off of, but honestly, I really like it. I like the comedy aspect to this. I really want to see where this goes because there's so much of the game that this mad lad, Nikichi Topita, can go off of and really stretch the stories out and flesh some of the characters out and, you know, make up some of his own lore for all I care because some of it would be interesting. I would love to see how Radon is made inside of this manga because he was completely Giga Chad. And of course, I would love to see how he portrays Ronnie. I think that would be hilarious of him interacting with Blue Waifu and then the whole proposal thing going on there, and to see how Melina would react to this too, because I would love to see how these two characters would interact. Because there's so many like interesting characters, especially like Pot Friend. everybody loved Pot Friend, so I would love to see Pot Friend depicted in this as well. With how many iconic characters are in Elden Ring, I feel like you have just like an endless manga worth of content. The game itself is already endless with all the new game pluses stuff, dude. I think my first playthrough, I had like over 150-ish hours, just ridiculous amount of time because I was just wanted to get everything and it was fun. And then I was like, you know what? Let's do this again, but on a different build. Because I'm an idiot. But yeah, I just wanted to help support the series because I want to see more. It says it's going to have another release on the 19th-ish. So I look forward to seeing that. You know, I like Elden Ring and I like anime manga. To combine them together, this is going to be gold. And I love comedy even more, so this is even better. So share your thoughts and opinions on this. Do you guys like this series too? Do you guys want to see some more? What things are you looking forward to in this manga? I mean, there's so many good ideas that could come about this. It's gonna be so funny. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see some more manga reviews or things like this, definitely slam that like button. Let me know. Hope to see you beautiful sons of guns again next time.
You crazy mother...